Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye, bye. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate the support. I'm very humbled by it. So, the victim impact statement. Now, when you commit a crime, especially a murder, an assault, a battery, any type of criminal activity that results in victims, the victims have a right at your trial or at your sentencing to do a victim impact statement. Now, the victim just isn't the person that you assaulted or killed. The victim's your family, their family, the community, anyone who wants to get up there and speak on behalf of the victims and the voiceless can absolutely do that. Now, Jake Haros was sentenced to 31 years, 25 years to life with a 6-year, 8-month tail, right? Now, did he deserve more? There's people saying, yeah, he deserved life without the possibility or death. I can pretty much sit here and tell you, having been locked up the majority of my life or over half of my life, that life in California is pretty much life. Ask the Menendez brothers, right? They're getting shot down for cell phones. Any type of write-up, anything like that is going to definitely have an adverse effect on Jake Haros' ability to be seen by board or to even be granted parole in the very, very, very future, right? So none of us right here watching this are ever going to see him on the streets, not until he's about 80 years old, if that's even possible, which I highly doubt. The way he's going, his mind state, I don't think he'll make it past 5 years, but that's just my guesstimation. Now, trip out. There was one victim impact statement. Jake refused to look at the woman giving the victim impact statement. Jake refused to give his own statement. He refused to tell us where baby Emmanuel was buried or placed. He refused to even admit guilt to the very end. Okay, he just looked down and sniveled like a little coward and a bitch. That's to be expected. Men that treat women and children the way he does tend to do that. They tend to break down, not because of what they've done, because of what's in their future and what they're going to face. It was all about him. It's always been all about him, and it's going to continue to always be about him until it's about his celly and the reach around his celly is asking for aggressively. That's on Jake. Hey, he has to eat sopas for the rest of his life and give reach arounds to his cellies. Spensa on the tira. That's you. Now, this victim impact statement was spoken on or spoken by Rebecca Haros' mother. Okay. Now, she's kind of a controversial figure because we've seen her being interviewed by Andatira and other people during this investigation. And she was pretty forward, pretty forthcoming in the beginning, because I literally actually think that she didn't know the true story or really what happened to baby Emmanuel. She had never even seen baby Emmanuel or didn't even know that he was around or born. That's crazy. Okay. That's how much of a grip that Jake either had on Rebecca or Rebecca was so displaced from her family, so ostracized from her family that they didn't even know that she had another child. Trip out on that, right? Still, the grandmother obviously knew, or the mother of Rebecca obviously knew about the 2-year-old child, and she didn't try to visit her either. So she didn't make an effort as a grandmother to really be in those children's lives. One, she did not know about, so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt on that one. And two, the other little girl who she knew, if she knew, like she said in this victim impact statement, that Jake was such a bad guy, that he changed her daughter, that her daughter wasn't the same, that she could tell there was some abuse going on and there was something going on, why would she not continuously and constantly be checking up on that 2-year-old, let alone baby Emmanuel? I could understand if she didn't know Emmanuel was born yet. Still, there's a 2-year-old in that household, and you know how this guy is. Go check up on your baby, because that's your baby too. You know, I don't know. That's how most grandparents are. That's how I am. I'm a grandfather. Anyways, I digress. Okay, let's look at that victim impact statement. Did Rebecca Haros' mother know what happened to baby Emmanuel prior? Is she trying to lay a foundation down for her daughter to have a defense of a battered woman? Is she basically placing all blame on Jake Harrell without shedding a goddamn tear? When is someone going to cry for baby Manuel? When is someone going to express, the true feelings of how a person is supposed to feel from a missing child and a murdered baby? Okay, not once from either family, either side, Jake or Rebecca's, have we seen anyone jump up shedding tears and pleading to Jake to please tell us where the baby's at. Instead, she made it all about Jake. Look at me when I'm talking to you. You won't look at me. Well, of course he's not going to look at you. He's a coward. But even more so than that, you asked him all the wrong questions. This woman asked him, basically worrying about her daughter. And I get it. She's a mother. That's her child. Mothers are always going to, stick up for their children, right or wrong. We understand that. I'd be doing the same thing. But also when you have grandchildren, that's a different type of love. And until you become a grandparent, I can't explain it. You love your children, but you love your grandchildren more, right? Your grandchildren it's just a whole different type of love. This woman did not build a bond with baby Manuel because according to her, Jake, not her daughter, but Jake kept her away. Now, I'm here to tell you, her daughter's just as fucking guilty as keeping her away from baby Manuel as Jake is. Okay, you can't blame one person without blaming the other. It takes two to fuck to make the baby. It takes two parents to raise that child. Unless there are a bunch of single mothers that do the mother and father role, and I respect the shit out of them. And then there's people like me that do the mother and the father role by myself. And hey, I do what I do, man. It's not expected, but I expect it of myself. The expectation is real. Getting back to Rebecca Harrell's mother. Did she know that Jake and Rebecca did this prior? I believe so. She slipped up in court and she said something which I don't know if the court caught. I don't know if the judge really caught, because she was doing a lot of rambling, a lot of repeating herself, a lot of basically placing blame on Jake without saying so much as a bad word against Rebecca other than, I blame her for keeping the baby, not telling me about the baby. Look it. You should be blaming her a lot more because she unalived that child right along with her fucked up ass, corny ass Jakey, the sneaky husband. Yes, Willie Lumpbutt, Rebecca unalived her kid. She killed her kid with Jake, whether it was hands-on, accidental, forceful, aggressive, whatever. As a mother, she had every opportunity and every chance to come clean. She still does. To come forward, to go to law enforcement. If she was being abused, she was being battered. If her child was being abused, she had every opportunity and possibility. There was reporters in her face. There was counselors right there. There was people in the community. There was a lot of people on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, social media personalities. There was plenty of opportunity to at least throw a coded message. SOS, you know what I'm saying? Wave her hand or whatever she had to do. But instead, you know what she did? She stuck to her story just like she's continuing to do. And now her mother is participating. And that's because I believe her mother knew exactly what happened. Okay? In the beginning, if you remember when her mother was interviewed, the same person who gave the victim impact statement, she was very forthcoming. She wasn't in the loop yet. See, Jake's sister was in the loop. She knew right from the gate. That's why she went straight into defense mode. My brother would never hurt a child. Bitch, she did plenty of times. My sister-in-law, we're very distraught. No, you're distraught because you're going to get caught. And she's distraught because you ate the last honey bun, bitch. You guys are working on your BBL together. Look, I'm trying to tell you guys right now, Jake's sister knew, Rebecca's mother didn't. Then somewhere along the line, she was brought and abreasted of what's going on. And that's when she decided to not talk to investigators anymore, to not talk to social media personality, because she didn't want to mess up because she's older and it's easier to get in her head and twist her up. You know what I'm saying? And she decided to just step back out of the limelight. Now, some of the things she did say in the victim impact statement, as far as, being victimized by social media everywhere she goes, her and her family, they're being scrutinized. And it is a form of victimization. It is a form of victimizing people, but that's to be expected. And it's unfortunate when your child or your family member gets caught up in a crime as heinous as this, when there's children involved. Yes, people are going to judge your character. People are going to look into your background. People are going to point fingers at you just as quick as they'll point fingers at Rebecca. I'm not that type of person. But the person I am is a person that has common sense, realistically, right? The common sense here says that when she gave that victim impact statement, all fingers were pointed at Jake Harrell. Now, I know it was Jake Harrell sentencing, so of course she's going to try to make him look as bad as possible. In the eyes, not the eye of the beholder, but the eyes of the people, the general public, people seen her as a grieving grandmother that shedded not one tear and only mentioned baby Emmanuel's name once. She can't even say his name correctly. She can't even say, my grandson, my baby, what did you do? You're a monster. Why don't you just tell us? She didn't plead at the altar to tell us where he's at, where he was placed, why he was murdered, what happened. That's the $1 million question. What happened and why? What made you come to that point where you had to kill your own son? Was it a domestic issue? Was it jealousy? Was it envy? Was it just your own weird ways? Was it that you just can't keep your hands off women and children because you're like, what was it? But instead of asking those powerful, meaningful questions, all she did was point the finger at how Jake changed her daughter. How if it wasn't for him, her daughter would be normal. Let me tell you something, man. Your bitch ass daughter would never be normal. She doesn't have normality in her. She's a narcissist as well. If you look at her past pictures in Instagram, filtered up, bold, glamored out the game. Willie Lumpbutt always displayed the characteristics of being about herself. Because in all these pictures on Instagram, these old pictures, these glamour shots you're seeing of Rebecca that had everyone oohing and eyeing. Oh, look at Lumpy Butt. She was cute. She was this. She was that. Where's her children at? You very rarely seen her in pictures with her children. And when you did, that she wasn't smiling too much. There was a couple, normal. Most of them looked like she was burdened. This is a woman of burden, a woman that believes her children are a burden to her. And she met the perfect man, the perfect storm, someone who feels the exact same way that felt that children were hindering their program. And that's what happened to baby Emmanuel. He was a hindrance to their program. Now, there's people that defend him and say, but what about the 2-year-old? What about her? We don't know yet. We don't know what that poor baby went through. I'm just so happy that she's away from them fucking monsters. I'm so happy that Jake is now away from society, period. Now he has to go into a facility with monsters that function differently than him. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. Jaws is going to take a bite out of his ass. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be bad for him. Rebecca's mother knew something. The way she was directing her wrath towards Jake and trying to minimize Rebecca, you can either say one or two things. She's doing that because that's her child and she's trying to back up her daughter's play. Or two, right? The lawyers, the defense team got at her and said, hey, if you do a victim impact statement, that's going to be good for Rebecca in her trial. If you already laid the foundation for how horrible of a monster he was, how he changed your daughter, how your daughter was a good woman prior to meeting this man, how she was totally different, how he kept her secluded, how he beat and battered her, how he did this to the children. He, ha, ha, ha. What about fucking hola? Did she fucking come up with that story because she was a good person? No, she came up with that story because that was the cover up for a murder that her and her fucked up husband had already committed. Do you understand that when Rebecca is looking and when she's doing all that, that baby Manuel was already dead? I don't believe at that time the grandmother understood or even knew about baby Emmanuel's plight. She was going through her own changes with having buried her other grandchild and several other things. It seems like that family was really having a hard time. When it rains, it fucking pours. Meanwhile, in the meantime, in between time, while all this death is going on and all this uncertainty, Jake and Rebecca are over there committing domestic violence issues amongst each other and killing children. And that's just the facts. And not only in the midst of killing baby Emmanuel, there's also abuse going on because that 2-year-old was in the home. So she was abused. Also, emotionally, anytime you scream and you yell around a child and you scare a child halfway to death, that's emotional abuse. That's abuse, period. Okay? That's why there's laws that you can't do nothing with children in the household like that. When you commit a crime and there's a child, that's child endangerment. Okay? They were definitely endangering every child that was in that home. And Jake's stupid ass sister brings her kids around an uncle that she knows is continuously beats on children. What type of mother is that? An endangerment mother, right? A BBL mother. I'm not saying all women with BBLs are bad, man. I love me a good BBL, but man, I ran into one that smelled odd. It just had an awkward smell. And I'm just going to be honest. Anyways, back to Rebecca's mom. This victim impact statement was meant for one thing and one thing only, and I believe not to basically fucking smut Jake up, but to lay a foundation for Rebecca, so that way, when her mother does testify, if it goes to trial, okay, if Rebecca's case goes to trial, her mother's going to say exactly, you'll see, she'll say exactly what she said about Jake in the victim impact statement. He changed her daughter. Her daughter was a good girl. She was changed. She was different until she met him. She wasn't different until she met him, because a woman that was different until she met this guy would have knew exactly what she was getting into. The moment that he explained to her, hey, man, I got a past case for this, this, and that, right? She should have been up out of there. Like, man, I don't want to raise my children around her. There's a reason why Rebecca doesn't have her other children. Okay? If she was such a good woman prior to being with Jake the Snake, why didn't she have her other children, her older children? Explain that to us, right? Explain why she was already estranged from her children prior to meeting Jake. Come on, man. We're not stupid. We weren't born yesterday. I was born in the daytime, but not yesterday time. One thing I know for sure is that woman was protecting her child by any means, and by pointing all fingers at Jake and saying that he was the monster, she thinks that minimizes the monstrous acts that her daughter committed. No can do. Sorry, sister. We ain't going for that. Hola, old lady. Respects for getting up there and having the balls. This old lady was the only one that had the balls to get up there and speak her mind, but she did it. She did it at the benefit of Rebecca. Period. The defense team will say that Rebecca Haros was beaten and battered. They will say that she was a good woman prior to meeting Jake Haros. They will say that Jake Haros unalived baby Emmanuel. He killed baby Emmanuel, and that he forced Rebecca to make up this story. But at the end of the day, and any mother and father knows this, when you choose to go on camera, look directly in the camera and lie, and only shed tears for your circumstance, right? People are going to see through the bullshit. You're just as complicit as if you killed a child yourself. And I honestly believe Rebecca did it, and Jake took the date for her. He took the time for her. Now, for those of you that are bitching and complaining about how long Jake got, he got forever. Life means life in the state of California. We should be happy and celebrating the fact that that man's not going to be around children, and that Promise, as well as baby Emmanuel, got some sort of justice, because nowadays children don't get nothing. They ain't got nothing coming, unfortunately, by anyone else, yet alone their parents in this situation, right? And as far as Rebecca, this case is ongoing. Everyone needs to play it smooth. Everyone needs to recognize that are really invested in this case. What's going to happen? She's either on January 21st, when she goes to her felony conference hearing, going to get a deal, take a deal, do what Jake did and plead guilty and get the fuck up out of there, or she's going to take it to trial. And I'm here to tell you, if this woman takes it to trial, the jury that believes in the beaten and battered case that she's going to her defense is going to put up, they're foolish, because this woman is just as guilty. She's an evil, maniacal woman, period. And her mother is dumber than a box of rocks. I hate to disrespect her mom, but I'm going to keep it real. That lady was dumber than a box of rocks, because I seen through it. She knew prior to going up there what Jake had did. Before Jake and Rebecca were arrested, they came clean to the mother. There's a possibility that she knows where baby Emmanuel was buried or taken. She needs to be talked to further. After that victim impact statement, there was a lot of red flags that went up for me when I see what she said. Like, I knew what she was doing, trying to make Jake look to be the bad guy. He is a bad guy. Don't get that twisted. He's a fucking piece of shit. But so was her daughter. She's an even worse one, because if you recall, she's the one that went up there with the story. See, all this started because Jake and Rebecca decided that they were going to go in front of a big five and lie after they killed their child. Okay? And she was not the best liar. I mean, she was under distress. She was just not a good liar, right? I mean, her butt was all, I mean, we can just keep on going. Willie lump butt, I just can't get over it. When she got arrested and I seen it, and I just couldn't get over it. Anyways, this is not a laughing matter. There is a baby. Mijo is involved here. Our kid, baby Emmanuel, belongs to us now. Remember? We're going to keep it pushing. Why didn't Rebecca's mom, she did not ask, where is he? Where's my grandson? Tell us, you monster. Where's my grandson? You fucking piece of shit. She should have been hardcore in there. Not, my daughter was different. My family don't want to come here because they can't look at him. But you're telling him to look at you. Well, guess what? Rebecca's mom, I can't even look at you, because I know you know. And I know what you're doing. If you agree with me, let me know. We'll see what happens with Rebecca in trial. I think it might go all the way to trial. I think she's stupid enough to believe she's going to beat this case. She's not. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people and justice for baby Manuel. We're halfway there, but we ain't there yet. We're going to keep on pushing. Bang, bang.